Today, I announce to all the nations around the world, especially the ones who are gearing up to invade Israel right now, you're going to lose and you're going to be forced to pay reparations. Let me repeat myself. You are going to be forced to pay reparations. Not only, though, the ones who are planning this invasion, this coming invasion that we read about on the news right now, but this reparations that I speak of goes all the way back to the Roman invasion of Jerusalem. I want to first, let's listen to General Jack Keane talking about the United States weakness in all of this.
And Institute for the Study of War, he's the chairman, nobody better. General Keane, Israel is surrounded on all sides and has the Mediterranean Sea on the one side where it's not surrounded. It's under attack on all sides. Hamas to the south, Hezbollah to the north, the PLO to the east. They're all being backed by Iran. And I'm sitting here in amazement. Do you think Israel's gaining the kind of at least public support from the president, the vice president, the secretary of state, the secretary of defense, that an ally should be receiving, that's taking all this incoming and taking on, it appears, Iran and its surrogates almost by itself?
Yeah, it's pretty outrageous. I mean, what Israel has done here, quite successfully, in rather rapid fashion, killing Mohammed Deif, the military commander of Hamas, and also Fuad Shakur, a military commander, obviously, of Hezbollah, and now the chief political negotiator and political spokesperson for Hamas, Hanayeh. And the fact that they've accomplished this, and the administration reacts to this, Mark, by wringing their hands, and their number one concern is about escalation, which in of itself shows a sign of weakness. And this has been the problem, from the outset, is that the horrific attack on October the 7th, Iran operationalized immediately all of the other proxies. On October the 8th, Hezbollah began to fire in northern Israel. The Iranian-backed Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, prior to October the 7th, had already fired at U.S. troops 125 times. And they stepped it up from October the 7th on, and the Houthis have effectively shut down the Suez Canal. And yet, to this day, we still do not hold Iran accountable for anything that I just said. And it's absolutely tragic, and it's a huge strategic mistake. And as a result of it, you're very right to point out, it puts Israel on its own, in a sense, in having to do some of the work. This killing of leaders is sending a clear message to the Iranians that we are determined. We're staying in this fight to the end. We're going to stay here until we achieve victory. And leaders, your operational leaders and leaders in Iran are at risk as long as you're continuing this axis of resistance and the ring of fire around Israel. And yes, I agree with you. Despite the rhetoric of ironclad support that you get from the administration, the actions that you get undermine the state of Israel and what they're trying to accomplish.
And there you have it, folks. That was a pretty good assessment of what's going on. The world has forced Israel in the position that it's in. And when the consequences arrive, the world is going to be, there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And the world is going to hate Israel for what Israel was forced by the world to do. But the world is going to have to pay reparations for what they have done to Israel. And the United States of America is no exception. Let us go to war news. What is going on with Israel? What is going on with the leadership in Israel? You know, back in the day, 1967, I believe it was 67, or was it 73? 67, preemptive strike. They knew in advance what Egypt was planning on doing. They did a preemptive strike on their enemies. Where's the preemptive strike here? Folks, let me explain to you why Israel has not done a preemptive strike. Because a preemptive strike would require Israel to fire nukes. So, oh, you think I'm crazy for saying that? I'm going to show you in a minute. So, war news: suffocating pressures inside Israel for a preemptive strike on Iran and a general war. Russian arms airlift to Iran. What in the world is Russia airlifting arms to Iran for? So, opposition leader Lapid in Israel says an entire country is sitting and waiting to be bombed. A preemptive strike against Iran, something that leads to a generalized war, is being asked of Netanyahu by the opposition and many top officials of the defense and security sector. The pressure is growing after the confirmed information about the transfer of Russian weapons to Tehran. Everything shows that the Middle East is going through a very critical moment. This Iranian attack will not just end like the last time. Y'all keep talking. Keep talking that talk. According to Israel media, Khan News, Israel is preparing for an immediate response against Iran when it attacks. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant today visited the Israeli Air Force's Underground Command and Control Center at IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv's Lakira to ensure that preparations for an Iranian and or Hezbollah attacks are complete. Yoav Gallant stated, we have to be prepared for anything, including a quick transition on offense. And I have to tell you this, that the soldiers in Israel need a little bit of rest after what they had to do down in Gaza. However, Iranian Air Force Command releases images of an underground base showing Iran's missiles. And of course, there's the Iranian propaganda video, "Horror is Coming," they say. So according to the Times of Israel, Israel is considering launching a preemptive strike to deter Iran if it finds hard evidence that Tehran is preparing to attack. Jewish media reported after Prime Minister Netanyahu summoned his security chiefs, Israel, and Council of War. So the council includes Defense Minister, IDF Chief of Staff, Mossad Chief, and Shin Bet Chief. Opposition leader Lapid has criticized Israel's leadership for its handling of the Iranian threat, arguing that there is no deterrence, no government. I would like to ask the Israeli government what they are seeking in the last few days and the new everyday life. Is it acceptable that for 5 days, an entire country has been sitting and waiting to be bombed? Is this the new normal, where Northerners won't get a hint from the government about when they can go home? He continues, accusing the government of not even pretending to try to get evacuated Northerners back to their cities. The new normal is that new parents don't go to a public park because it's far from the shelter. Foreign airlines do not fly here because there is no one to trust. Everyone is waiting, and they don't know what they are waiting for, adds Lapid. Okay? Even hospital parking lots are being prepared in Israel. Meanwhile, Iran has formed a Qasem Soleimani force. The new group will initially consist of 10,000 members, 20% of whom will be Yemen's Houthis, with Hezbollah playing a direct role in administrative and organizational levels. And this goes on and on and on. You know, you got Israeli parking lot turned into an emergency care as precaution to respond to surge in cases as tension escalates on the northern border. Now, we have an official Russia delegation in Iran. Secretary Shoigu has arrived in Iran for a planned working visit to discuss global and regional security issues, the Russian Security Council announced on Monday. However, the issue of escalation in the Middle East with Iran's imminent attack on Israel will also be discussed. All right. And of course, this meeting is designed to intimidate Israel. Now they're discussing what is it that Russia offered to Israel. So Russian arms airlift to Iran. Tehran confirmed. Israel media confirmed transfer of Russian weapon systems to Iran. The Israelis are talking about emergency flight of Russian transports to Iran with military advisors from critical sectors and sensitive equipment. So you've got military advisors coming to Iran, bringing all this equipment. You're starting to see something different. Something different than what we have seen before. And I suspect that Russia is turning this into an extension of their war in Ukraine. Because after all, the war in Ukraine is really a war against NATO. Last week, according to Israel Media Channel 14, Russia urgently transported Iskander ballistic systems and Murmansk electronic warfare systems to Iran on IL-76 transport aircraft. Last week, Russia transports landed at some airports in Iran carrying ammunition and various military equipment. You see, if something like this would have happened with Iran transporting this equipment to Syria, Israel would have bombed them, would have blown them up. But Israel can't do that in their minds to Russia because they know that Russia is salivating at something like this so they can go and invade Israel. Now they're saying, however, it is unlikely that Russia transferred Iskander M ballistic missiles to Iran as their range is only 500 kilometers while Tehran has missiles with longer range. There's something else. It's not here. It's in another article. It would be where oh, I forgot to transfer it from my other computer. Watch this. To transfer Shaheen. Pakistan to aid Iran in Israeli war. Now, I'm just giving you enough information that you can go and do your research yourself. But the bottom line is, it appears that Pakistan, maybe it's on another one. Oh, there it is right here. Pakistan, this is on once again, Israel's American enemy, Hal Turner, the wish he was a Nazi, Pakistan to provide Shahed-3 missiles to Iran. This is in case they run into trouble with Israel. So what you see here, you see Russians providing assistance to Iran. You see against Israel. You see Pakistan ready to supply their most advanced nuclear missile program to Iran. Now, what in the world would they be loading up on Shahed-3 missiles anyway? That's like asking what you would be loading on Jericho-3 missiles. You see what I'm saying? And so if you can go on Wikipedia and you can look up what the Shahed-3 is. It's a land-based medium-range ballistic missile. But it's not only a ballistic missile, but it has the capability of launching warheads as well. And this brings us to Ezekiel 38. And I'm going to tell you, all you nations, you are going to have to, in light of all this talk about reparations, you're going to have to provide reparations to Israel, to the Jews, for all of the crimes, rape, pillage, and murder, attempted genocides, all the way back from the Roman invasion in 70 CE. The word of Jehovah, not the Lord. His name is not the Lord, it's Jehovah. Came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog or George. Yes, I did an entire video showing that the name George and Gog are one and the same. So who is Gog? Well, Gog is the one who wears the ribbon of St. George. All right, let's look at it. There it is. It is a Russian military symbol. The same symbol that is described in Revelation 9 verses 17, 18 that are on the sides of these horses, as they say. When the world is going to lose a whole third of its population, as it's clearly written in Revelation 9 verses 17 to 18. So, who is Gog? The one who wears the ribbon of St. George. Of the land of Magog, Rosh. That's right, Rosh. Russia and Rosh is the same word. It means the same thing, the head. Rosh, captain of Meshach and Tubal. Now, some say that Meshech is Moscow. It might be, but Tubal is Tbilisi, and there's another city that can be tied in, another city in Russia that can be tied to this as well. But Tbilisi is the capital city of Georgia, and Georgia also means Gog. But who is the Rosh captain of Tubal anyway? Well, Russia just showed them several years ago and prophesied against him and says Adonai Yehovah, Gog, Rosh prince of Meshech and Tubal, return and put hooks in your jaws, and come out all your army. Or it doesn't say all your army, it says come out with your army, with Sus. What are Sus? Well, they can be horses, but they are also war birds. See that right there? And Paresh, your steeds. Are stretched out to a vehicle. A driver in a chariot, so that it can also mean tanks and their drivers. Clothed in perfect armor, an abundant company, with bucklers, shields, and handling swords or sidearms. And who is the first nation that participates? Persia. Now this says Cush. Cush can be Africa, but it can also be, yes folks, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and parts of India. Because you see, when India and Pakistan were one, they were one, and what they were was not exactly a mixture, a caste system of Persia and Cush. And they still are. The Persians, the lighter colored ones, being on the top of the caste system, and the Cushites being on the bottom end of the caste system. And put North Africa also. The shield and helmet. Gomer. Now here's the thing. Gomer, as I pointed out many times, it includes, I mean, you could call it the land of Gomer in that case. In those days, in that case, it would have been Turkey. But you see, Gomer includes Ashkenaz, that's much of Europe. It includes Rifith, that would include the Gauls and the Gaelic peoples. You see? Are they going to join in? I don't know. It could just mean from the land of Gomer. We'll have to see. And the army of the house of Togarmah. This is also a son of Gomer. So the implication, see, why did he have to say Gomer and a son of Gomer, and a particular son of Gomer? Maybe it's because Ashkenaz and Riphath are not participating in this fight. Could be. Of the north flank, of the north side, army with many people with you. And if you look in the 6th vial, it talks about the king of Anatolia being a figure, a key figure in all of this. And of course, we see, him beating his chest and rattling his cage too. Prepare yourself and all your company. What are they doing right now? They're preparing themselves because they want to invade Israel. Is this the one? Is this the time? I don't know. But if you are watchful, if you are paying attention, you will know fairly soon whether this is the one or not. And assemble yourselves. And watch over them. So clearly, the one who wears the ribbon of St. George, as they say, is guiding them, watching over them, moving them as chess pieces. Many days you shall be visited. It'll be your appointed time in the after part. Now, folks, if you have been I want to show you something. I want to go to prove that this right here, this after part, this Ezekiel 38 war is the same as what's going on in Yoel 2 and Yoel 3. All right? So we'll go there. Go to Yoel 2. And as I've pointed out, the last few verses of Yoel 2 is actually an introduction into Yoel 3. Okay, in the after part, that's what it says. You see it right there. In the after part, let's go back to Ezekiel 38. Many days. In the after part, using two different words, but they mean the same thing. Actually, one is a compound word, akarith. The after part at the end. Okay? So we go to here, and it comes from the word akar. Okay. After, where is it? There it is right there. Akar. So you have akar, and you have akarith. Akarith. So it's the same word, it just added a little different flavor to the word. You will come to the land which is brought back from the sword, and which was taken back after the sword of 70 CE. It was taken back after many years. It is taken back. This has to occur. It is a prophecy. Payback is coming to the Gentiles for what they did to the Jews in Israel back in 70 CE. And gathered many people. When you gather many people to the mountains of Israel, which was continually waste, but is now come out of the Gentiles, and they dwell there in security. Up until recently, they did. Ascend, climb up like a storm. You shall be a cloud to cover the land, you and all your bands, and many people with you. Adonai Jehovah says, it shall come to pass in that time, in that day, shall things come into your mind, and you shall think a adversarial thought. And you will say, go up to the land of unwalled villages, or to open hamlets. That would be northern Israel. So what they want to do, they're going to use the so-called UN doctrine of pre-67 borders. They're going to use that as an excuse to invade Israel and go to them that are in rest, undisturbed, that dwell safely. A wall having, it says, a bar and gate, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn your hand upon the desolate places which are now inhabited, upon the people who are gathered out of the Gentiles, that have gotten cattle and goods, and dwell in the midst of the land. So Sheba and Dedan, in this case that's Saudi Arabia, the Arabian Peninsula, and the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions are young nations. Tarshish is beyond the pillars of Heracles. Look it up. Shall say to you, are you come to take a spoil? Have you gathered your company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle, goods, and all of that? So when this occurs, and once again, it shall be in the after part, the Acherith, the same as what is written in Yoel 3:2. Akar means the same thing. It is the following part, the after part, afterward. Ezekiel, where was this? We'll go to this word, Acherith, the after part. The after part meaning the end. All right, just so we are clear on what we are talking about here, folks. And I will bring you against, it says, it will go up into the land, so that the Gentiles may know me. So you're going to come into the land of Israel so that the Gentiles can be properly introduced to Jehovah. That's right. When I will be sanctified, Gog in front of your face, their faces. He says, I spoke of this in the old times by my servants, the prophets of Israel. What prophets? Well, Yoel. You read Yoel 3 and you find the same thing. And if you read Yoel 3, you find out what causes all of this. And how the ending is going to be. And here you also find how the ending is going to be. Shall come to pass that time when Gog comes to the land against the land of Israel, says Adonai Jehovah, that my fury shall come up in my face, for in my jealousy and the fire of my wrath have I spoken. In that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of heaven and the beasts of the earth and all the creeping things that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. And then he says, there will be a declaration, a proclamation of war. That's what it said, a proclamation of a sword in his holy mountain, says Adonai Jehovah. At this time, every man's sword will be against his brother. This is going to cause the great nuclear conflict. If you go to Zechariah 14, you will read it. It says the same thing. It says, verse 13, and it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult, confusion, discomfiture from Jehovah will strengthen and grow, everyone on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor, while Yehuda is fighting at Jerusalem. All the wealth of all the Gentiles round about shall be gathered. But what is this every man against his neighbor? What's that all about? Here it is. And this shall be the plague, where Jehovah will smite all the people that fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. That is nuclear launches. So who's going to do the launching first? Well, I extensively showed you the criteria for Israel to use the Samson option, and that they will use it if the criteria is met. So if we go back to Ezekiel 38, apparently, according to this, the criteria is met. Because it says, he will declare a sword against in the hill country, says Jehovah Elohim, every man's sword shall be against his brother. So this is that plague, this is that stroke, this is that blow right here, this, where it says every man shall be against the hand of his neighbor. Right here, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. So apparently, nukes are going to be launched from Israel. The Samson option. And where are they going to fall? Let me show you where they're going to fall. Right here. Verse 15, and so shall be this blow to the horses, to the mules, to the camels, to the donkeys, and to all the beasts. All the beasts. That includes cattle, sheep, whatever, that shall be in these encampments. Now, the encampments are the places where these... Now, you will say, oh, that means just the encampments around about. No, folks. You see, now I'm not going to let you get away with that. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to show you where it's going to strike. This is Ezekiel 39 in continuation. And you shall fall upon the mountains of Israel, you and all the bands of people that are with you, and I will give you into the birds of every sort and the beasts of the field to be devoured. Now, how is it that it's going to be happened, the flesh melting away and disappearing, in the encampments, just the little encampments round about Israel as they're invading, if he's going to give them to the birds to be slaughtered in the encampment round about, close by, invading? No, those are going to be given to the birds to eat. So who's going to receive the plague where their eyes rot out while their feet are standing, as written in Zechariah 14. Who is going to get that? I will show you who. It says, you shall fall upon the open field, for I have spoken, it says Jehovah Elohim, or Adonai Jehovah. And I will send a fire upon Magog, and also those who dwell carelessly in the coastlands. Who dwells carelessly in the coastlands? The coastlands of what? The coastlands of the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, let's look. The coastlands, that would be the Roman Empire. And I told you, you need to go back on Wikipedia and look and read the entire printout of the entire text of the Samson option. You will know right away, once you read it, that that's in reference to Scripture. Okay, this is going to happen so that when the time of the end, the after part comes, so Jehovah, the Elohim of Israel, will introduce himself to the Gentiles in this way, whether you like it or not. Now, I talked about reparations. So here we go. So there's going to be smoke and darkness will be the after effect of this particular war. And it says about Zion, arise and shine, for your light is come. The glory of Jehovah has risen upon you. The darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but Jehovah shall arise upon, and his glory shall be seen. And the Gentiles have to come to that light. Why? Because there's no light where they are. And the kings to the brightness of your rising. Lift up your eyes round about and look. They are gathering. They are coming to you. Your sons shall come from afar, and your daughter Zion shall be nursed at your side. To see the stream of people, your heart will be in awe, and your land will be enlarged, grow wide, Rahab. Because somebody was defeated. Who was defeated? Because the roaring crowd, right there, of the sea, the roaring crowd of the sea, shall be not converted, will be hafak. Hafak means to overturn or overthrown. And you go to, what is it? Daniel 7. And it says, and I beheld, and what was it? Thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. I'll look at that. Seven. And I just go Ancient of Days. $722. We'll start in verse 21. And I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came. And the Ancient of Days is coming. That is the creator of all things, including the creator of the Moshiach. And judgment was given to the Kodesh. That would be to the people, to the Jews of the Most High. And the time came. What time is that? The after part. That the Kodesh possessed or takes possession of the kingdom. Okay? So, the abundance of the sea, that would be the Roman Empire, will be overthrown when the forces of the Gentiles come against you. That's what it really means, right here. When the armies of the Gentiles come against you. Multitude of camels will cover you. Dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all of them and those of southwest Arabia shall bring gold and incense, and they will praise Jehovah. The flocks of Kedar or Qatar, or Qatar as they say today, shall be gathered unto you. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto you, and shall come up with the acceptance on my altar. So the Gentiles, when they have to bring either the people of Israel from around the world, or their gold and silver. Gold and incense. See? And then it says, and he's going to glorify his altar and his house with these things. They fly, the word is oof, which means to fly. They fly as or on or in the cloud. Like doves to their windows. Who? Well, the Zion. The coastlands will wait, but the ships of Tarshish first. And I have gone over who the ships of Tarshish, who own the ships of Tarshish, who is Tarshish. That would be the continents west of the Strait of Gibraltar. First to bring your sons from afar. So the Gentiles of Tarshish are going to be first to bring the sons of Zion, that would be the Jews and lost Israel. And they're going to have to bring the gold and the silver with them. Not like it was when they came in 1947-48, where the Gentiles kicked them out of their lands and stole all their property, all their gold and their silver, and everything except for the clothes on their back. It's not going to be like that this time. unto Shem Jehovah Elohim, not unto the name of the Lord God. It is Shem Jehovah Elohim, the Kadosh of Israel, because he's going to glorify. The sons of strangers shall build your walls. That is reparations, folks. Reparations. Get used to it. It's going to have to be done. Not on the Jews' backs. No. Your backs are going to do these reparations. And build up your walls, and their kings shall be your servant. Because in my wrath I smote you, but in my favor I now have mercy upon you. Your gates shall be opened continually, and they shall not be shut day nor night, so that men may bring the wealth of the Gentiles, the Goy, and that their kings might be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve you, that will not provide reparations to Israel, shall perish. Yes, those nations shall be utterly wasted, destroyed. And the sons of them that afflicted you shall come bending to you, and all they that despised you, that use the term Zionist in disdain, they will all come bowing down at the soles of your feet. And they shall call you the city of Jehovah, Zion, Holy of Israel. You see, there will no longer be these mockers and fools mocking the Zionist. You have been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through. I will make you now an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. And you will suck the milk of the Gentiles. That's right. Reparations! And you shall suck the breasts of kings. And you shall know Jehovah is your Savior, your Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Now, there's more. Read it all. Reparations is coming. If this plot, while the young lions of Tarshish are in complete disarray, if this plot occurs, it will be resoundingly defeated. And yes, reparations to Israel will be made. So while we are waiting, I'm announcing you today, Israel will defeat this enemy, and reparations will be made. That is a guarantee.